And we're back at, well, these are video sit-downs with the candidates. I'm Diedrich Allen, off camera. In front of you is Glenn Gaither. He is a candidate for 35th District State Representative, position number 2. Now, Glenn, you're running as an independent. Tell us more about Glenn Gaither.
Well, as Diedrich said, my name is Glenn Gaither. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 4 children. We live here in the town of Shelton. Just recently moved from Lake Cushman here back in November. I'm running as an independent candidate, and a lot of people ask me why not pick a side. They're saying, hey, you have to pick Republican or you have to pick Democrat, and go with one of those twos if you want a ghost of a chance at winning. Well, I think I did choose a side, and the side that I chose was of the citizens in the district and of the state.
All right. Well, I did present you with some questions so that you were prepared and knew what I was going to throw at you. First question out. What is the biggest issue or problem facing the 35th District and the state of Washington, and how do you plan to deal with it?
I think the biggest issues that we face right now are economic issues. We're looking at a reported 9% unemployment rate on average. I think the numbers are a lot higher than that, and nobody wants to discuss the underemployment rate. Before the bubble burst, before the economy started tanking, so to speak, people were working at a certain job or had a small business and were making a certain level of income. And since that, a lot of those jobs kind of disappeared. So those people ended up either being unemployed for a short period of time or going right into a different job. But the thing is that their wages have either gone down, or in a lot of cases where they're still employed, they are pretty much flat. So as wages have gone down or are flat, cost of living, fuel, energy, food, grocery bills, your medical costs, everything else is skyrocketing. So we're going to have a growing disparity between the normal working class, the middle class, and the cost of living. So we're not keeping up. We have a lot of people telling us that we're doing better economically because, well, look, the job numbers are better. So we have less unemployment. First of all, I don't buy into those numbers. I don't think those numbers are accurate. I think it's an election year and somebody's padding that information. So as a whole, our quality of life is degrading. More people that I've talked to that own businesses are stating that, yeah, you go in and you say, hey, how's business? How are things going? And they tell you, well, some months are good and some months are bad, but we're getting by. I don't think anybody started a small business, or had a dream of growing up and going in a profession thinking that, hey, when I grow up, I want to just get by. They want to move ahead. They want to create a better future for themselves and for their children. And I don't see that happening right now. I think we're kind of at a real flat juncture in our economy. So that's where the focus needs to be.
So how do you propose to increase tax revenues to support current services in the 35th District and the state?
I don't propose to increase tax revenues.
Okay.
I'm going to be the one guy that's going to come out, because I don't have to worry about what the party's going to tell me later after the end of the interview, that's going to tell you no new taxes, no fee increases, no new revenues. I don't think that we should increase our fuel taxes or anything. What I think we need to do is look at the fraud and waste that we have in state government right now. Right now, on average, we're between 30 and 35% fraud and waste. That's a big, huge, giant chunk of our budget. We have, and I'm a state employee, and I'll tell you this, and a lot of state employees will tell you also, that state government is run like an upside-down pyramid scheme. It's not the firefighters, it's not the teachers, the doctors, people working in corrections that are the issue. The people that provide your services in health care or at L&I department if you have an injury. Those really aren't the people that are the issue. The issue is that we have so many layers of management and so much bureaucracy up above them that the money doesn't really get to the services it needs to get to. So we need to look at that big chunk of bureaucracy and management that kind of needs to be trimmed out, so to speak, the fat, the kind of treating it like it's a giant private country club for all the guys that have been in state service for a long period of time.
Do you have a specific plan to attract business and industry to the 35th District, the state, and can you summarize it for us?
Yes. The biggest thing is that, look, if there are a lot of people out there that want to start a small business, or they're struggling with their business. I think we need to modify the B&O tax so it's a little bit fair, give people some deductions, like their overhead, what they're paying for their utility bill, employees, all those things should be deductible. I'd like to see a really bold plan would be to say, hey, you know what? If you're an entrepreneur in Washington State and you want to start a small business, we're going to give you a 3 to 5 year tax break. We're not going to touch that business until it is up and running and solid, because everybody knows the first 2 to 3 years are the most critical. After that, you're trying to build a little bit of growth. If you hire X number of employees, I think we should give you a tax break on saying, hey, you just put 10 people back to work. We really appreciate that, instead of going right after it. This state has a tendency, once somebody plants that seed and it gets a little bit of a sprout coming up, they want to chop that thing right off and, put it in the general fund, so to speak.
Final question for you, Glenn. What is the state's single biggest need?
Jobs. We need to get people back to work. But it can't just be minimum wage jobs or the part-time jobs that they're doing right now to just get by. We need to attract jobs that support families, what I like to call family supporting wages. I keep saying the same thing. I keep talking to people, and people that were prospering just 4 or 5 years ago, back when the state had a budget surplus, actually, they're saying that it's harder to get by. Their wives have gone back to work, or they've taken a second job, or like me, in my case, they're working a lot more overtime, but their dollar's just not going as far.
All right. Glenn Gaither, independent candidate for 35th District. Position number 2. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you for your time.
We'll be back with our next candidate in about 20 minutes.